like spending the last day with myself, and I'm like praying to God. I'm like, Lord, please don't let her be crazy. Don't let her be whatever. So we'll call her roommate number 3. When she moved in, I remember being like, oh, okay, she's really pretty. She's really small, like whatever. Not that that mattered. And I remember the day I met her, she was with her boyfriend, I guess it was. And I was like, you know, I wanted to offer her the same courtesy roommate number 2 had offered me. I was like, hey, do you want me to help you move in? She was like, oh my God, really? And I was like, yeah, sure. Bro, this girl had so much stuff. When I went to her room in Barbie, her room was dirty. So we were like half cleaning the room, half her trying to figure out what she wanted to keep, what she was throwing away. We took so many trips, and it was like the day she moved out, it was raining. And like we had to keep crossing this big behind puddle. And I remember at the end of that day, my shoes were soaked. I think I was wearing like high top Converse. Because I really didn't have anything else. No, I was wearing my Timbs. I was wearing my waterproof Timbs, bruh. And I remember my feet just being so heavy and to continuously keep going up to the 3rd floor. And I'm a strong person, so I was taking mad boxes. And I remember looking at her boyfriend like, bruh, I know you can carry more. And I remember thinking like, yo, I'm about to have an asthma attack for real. But yeah, like I helped her move in and stuff, and it seemed like things were cool. Like everything was cool at first. And then I remember one day, I'll never forget, we were in the cafeteria and I passed by her and I was like, hey girl, like you look good to see you. And I saw her go back. Well, she brought me up to her table to kind of like meet her friends or whatever. And they were just looking like who is that? And she's like, oh, it's my roommate, guys, or whatever. And then when I walked away, like I heard some of the guys be like, oh, she's ugly. And she was like, stop, that's my roommate. She was like, I was just trying to be nice, but she was like, it's whatever, like, yeah. And she like made a joke. She was like, yeah, that's my roommate. And I was just like, you didn't have to introduce me to your friends, and I'm not about to sit here and be like the butt of somebody's joke. I remember being so pissed off, because then like, you know, being the insecure person that I was back then, I went to the room and acted like I didn't hear everything her friends said and what she had said about me. And they were just sitting there like for real looking at me, laughing and everything like that. And I never felt so inadequate until then and everything like that. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, I don't even know you. I didn't even do anything. Like, why are you making fun of me? Like, come on. I was so tired. I was just so tired. I remember being like, God, like, why am I here? And I just would get progressively sad. And I was just like, because honestly, to be honest, like in high school, I'm not used to not being liked, because I get along with everyone. I really, truly never had a problem with anyone. I can work with anyone. I can talk to anyone. I love talking to people in general. So basically coming to a HBCU that's supposed to be about like unity and like coming together as a people, I felt like it was always a competition of who looked the best, who was the best, just period, who could be the best black person. And like, I'm not a materialistic person, so I'm not over here rocking Nike and all this other stuff. And like, yeah, that was definitely before I started my fitness journey, so I wasn't at my best weight, and I wasn't as healthy and everything. I know I didn't look my best, but I was just like, damn, like, I just felt like I'm not being hated on, because there's really nothing to hate on. But I was just like, why is there so much like animosity and everything between people? And I'm like, it just drove me crazy. I was just like, I haven't given her a reason not to like me, and you know, things like that. And she also became another problematic roommate, because I'll never forget one time I turned over, it was like 6 or 7 in the morning, and I had class that day. She had a boy over and she didn't freaking tell me. And at a HBCU, like, if you're in an all-girls dorm, which I was, guys are not allowed to sleep over. Like I said, the visiting hours are from 12 to 12. She had him in after hours, and you can get in trouble for that. And I came in one day, he was just freely walking around in his boxers and no shirt on, and I'm just like, I'm glad you're that comfortable, but I mean, like, come on, like, this is not just your own room. And it made me think of when she said she was leaving, how she just stopped getting along with her suite mates. And I was like, I wonder if this is why. Were you doing that over there? Just bringing her over guys and they just parading around in their underwear and stuff? Like, I just didn't feel comfortable. I was just like, oh my God. I remember texting Jay, like, bro, this guy's just over here in boxers. He's staying over and all this stuff. She would walk around in her little Victoria's Secret pink and all that. And one thing though, I'm not even gonna say that. That's nobody's business but hers. Yeah, so that, and like, I remember, so like I said, I heard something, it was early in the morning, and I turned over. I literally see this man lifting her up and putting her on his dun-dun-dun, and they start going at it, and I'm like, I literally made that noise, or I think I coughed, and they just ignored it. They just kept going, and I was like, I'm here. Like, can nobody see me? Like, I'm here. I remember just being like, so done. Like, I just want to leave. I just couldn't believe all the things that were happening to me, and it's like, this just isn't worth it anymore. I was like, there's got to be more to school than this. I know college, this is just not it. And I was like, maybe I just need to live alone. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is me. I don't know. But it's like, I can't do this. I recalled texting my mom and dad a bunch of times. I called my dad crying a lot of times. And I told him, I was like, look, I need to transfer. I cannot do this. And I remember him and my mom being, supportive of it. And they're like, well, do your search, meet the deadlines. Like, we'll give you the money for the application stuff. Do what you gotta do, but end off with the best grades you can. And that's definitely what I tried to do. Like I said, overall, I was just, your girl was depressed. Like, that, I can honestly say that was the darkest moment of my life. I hated living. I didn't want to leave the house to eat. I didn't want to talk to people. I had originally, in the beginning of the semester, gained a momentum of going to the gym and helping train people. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't eat as much. I was just like, and when people would ask how A&T was, I would be real. I'd be like, honestly, I don't really like it. And I didn't get too much support when I said stuff like that. So I was like, I just won't tell anyone. And I was just faking it. People would call me, I'd be like, oh, I'm great. School is great. Classic fake it till you make it. That's what I was doing. Because I was just so unhappy, any chance I could get to go home, I was going home. I was taking 10-hour, not even 10-hour, it was like 10 to 12-hour bus rides that would take you from North Carolina all the way to New York. And then from New York, I'd have someone pick me up there, or have something in New York, have a Uber take me from New York to Philly, or take me from New York to Jersey City where my dad worked, so that then he could take me home. And I did that quite a few times. And I remember even going to visit Jalen's grandparents in another part of North Carolina, just to get away from school and to visit him and to meet them. But I just couldn't be there. I remember telling my dad, I'm like, do we have enough money for me to come home this week? Or like that one week I had went home, was for the Childish Gambino concert. Like, that was the best weekend of my life. And then I think I also went home for Thanksgiving. But a lot of the times when other people got to go home, like, I remember me and Janelle just staying in the dorm because we couldn't get home. Like, when I could, I was taking trains back home. I was taking the bus. Like, I just couldn't be there. And I remember every time I was home, I was like, I don't want to go back, or like, can I stay a little longer? And no, I had to go back. Top 4 reasons why I left A&T. The first one includes them giving me false information about what the program I was enrolled in, what it was. So in the middle, like I said earlier, My major there was called sports science and fitness management with a concentration in physical therapy. Obviously a lot different than athletic training, but when I had done my research during the college application process, I was assured like, oh yes, athletic training, you can become an athletic trainer with this degree, it's accredited, etc. I remember just stalking their websites and doing like a whole bunch of reading, and it seemed to check out. So I was like, okay, cool. And honestly, my parents weren't as involved in my college application process as I wish they were. I did a lot of research on my own, and that's not their fault. You should do your own research anyway, but I feel like maybe if they had read a couple more things over than what I did, maybe I would have chose a different school. But that's, like I said, that's not their responsibility. That was mine. And I remember in the middle of the semester, we got an email from, I guess, like the department head of like health and exercise science or whatever our college was called. And he was calling this meeting that was going to be super early. I believe the meeting was either at 6 in the morning. Yeah, it was at 6 in the morning. The meeting was at 6 in the morning. I remember being like, am I reading this right? Like, there's no way there's this mandatory meeting being called this early in the morning. Like, don't they know we're college students? And so I got up really early that morning. I went, and I remember I had an 8 a.m. that day. So I literally went from that meeting straight to class. I remember being so tired and just frustrated. So at the meeting, there's this guy, and I don't know if he was European or whatever, but he had an accent, and I knew he wasn't like from, at least not from Greensboro or nothing like that. And he was like, hi, my name's like whatever. I'm the new department head. They just brought me in 3 months ago. Please settle in. We have a lot to discuss this meeting, because I feel like you're all confused about what this program is, and you've been lied to, and I'm here to clear up and fix everything that the person in front of me, the person that was before me, everything that they did. And in my head, I'm like, what is he talking about? So then he basically goes on this long tangent about how the program is a lie, and how like it really isn't a sports science and fitness management degree, and like all these different things, that it's not athletic training, and basically the concentrations don't matter, and part of the program just like not being accredited and stuff like that. And I remember being like, wait, what? So I remember sitting there like, yo, I'm on an episode of Punk'd. Like, there's no way. It was just like one thing after another with this school. And so basically he opens up the floor of questions, and he was saying how like basically next year, so in 2019, they were going to start a grandfather program and try to work out the new program with a new degree, and that the new degree and program would only apply to sophomores and incoming freshmen. So that would have been my class and the class behind me. So naturally, like I said, there's seniors, juniors, freshmen, and sophomores in this meeting, and they're pissed. The upperclassmen are pissed. So this one girl who's a junior is like, hi, I'm a junior. I have a question. If I were to graduate tomorrow, what is my degree going to say? And he said, it'll say exercise physiologist. Now, I don't know much about college, but let me tell you, usually what your major is, that's what the degree is going to say. So how am I a sports science and fitness management major, but my degree is going to say exercise physiologist? And those of you who are in the health and exercise science like field, sports medicine field, you know an exercise physiologist is completely different than a personal trainer, completely different than an athletic trainer, completely different than a physical therapist. That's a whole nother profession. That doesn't even like fall under fitness management. Like, yes, it can fall under the sports science because it's a part of like, it's under the sports medicine branch, but that's a whole specific profession. Like, you would be limited to that one profession if you were to graduate from their program. And I was like, I'm here for athletic training. Like, this is what I was told. So I remember texting and calling my parents that day, like, yo, the degree is a lie. Like, oh, I need to go, blah, blah, blah. And I remember being like, okay, Jocelyn, calm down. Maybe you don't have to leave A&T. Maybe you can change your major. Because one thing I didn't mention earlier in the video, but my English professor, Professor Hook, she was like, you have a real talent for writing and I love your style. And she brought me in front of the dean of the College of English or whatever it's called. And she sat me down. I remember having a meeting with her and she was like, hi, I've read some of your stuff and Professor Hook's only talks great things about you. And she was like, I want you to be a double major. I want you to double major in English. And then she was like, you know, whatever else you're majoring in now. And I remember being so sad because I was like, I'm sorry, but like I've already made the decision to leave the school. And I just remember being like, oh, what would happen if I even double majored? And that's sometimes what I think about now. What would have happened if I would have stayed and just like changed my major, if I would have went for English? But at the time, and you know, even now, like I knew like athletic training, like this is what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to settle. And like even there, I was like, am I ready for a double major? Stuff like that. So the fact that Rowan had a Katie accredited program, and my high school athletic trainer vouched for their program and said like they knew a bunch of their like mentees that had went there and they have really good jobs in the field now, that was enough for me. And the second reason was that my mental health was, for lack of a better word, it was shitty. It was so bad. Like I've already said 1,000 times, I was so depressed. I didn't leave my room except to go to class and to maybe eat. I wasn't even eating every day. Like I was just sitting in my room and I felt so bad. Like my boyfriend was low-key the only person I felt like I could talk to, and I was like, you know, this sucks because he's going through his own stuff. He's in school too, and I'm sure he doesn't want to talk to me all the time like I was trying to talk to him. And I just felt like nobody understood because, you know, for the most part, everybody there loved A&T. Now, I had met a couple of seniors that were like, yo, I can't wait to leave this school. Like, I've hated this school, but I don't have the money to transfer and stuff like that. I've met quite a few seniors like that. And even in my freshman first class, I had opened up to a couple of my classmates about my transferring, and I had met two other girls that told me that they were transferring as well. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was funny because we kind of had like similar reasons for transferring and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it made me not feel like so alone or feeling bad for transferring. So that was that. I just never want to be in as dark of a place as that was. And maybe I'll make another video talking about the importance of mental health and how you know when your mental health is off. But I did not love myself back then, and it was just really hard for me to talk to anyone and get out of my room, and I felt like nobody cared about me, and that, I don't know, it's almost indescribable. But listen to your body, listen to your mind, take time to acknowledge those thoughts, but don't get stuck in it. I was definitely stuck in it, and I felt as though I didn't have a way out until I left, or until I made friends with Amara and Akia. So I really appreciate them, and I thank God for sending them to me. And another reason, the third reason, was paying out-of-state tuition for a poor experience. Like HBCU, obviously, they're notorious for not getting as much funding, or you only get as much funding from like donations from alumni, what the government gives you, you know. And if people just like give back in general, and there are a lot of students there, so you know everybody's not getting a huge amount of financial aid. And at the time, even though my parents weren't necessarily together, they still both worked higher paying jobs, so I just was not getting a lot of financial aid, even though we truly needed it. And I had scholarships from church and stuff like that, and that helped, but it only covered like a fraction of what tuition was. And there's so many fees like at this school. Like there's a fee for the shuttle. I used the shuttle one time in my life, and it was a day I was in so much pain I could not walk. And that was it. Like, if it was raining or anything like that, I would walk with my umbrella. I had never used a shuttle. I was like, getting my steps in. You paid for athletics. I was like, yo, I'm not even an athlete. You were paying for random clubs you didn't even know about. It was just a whole bunch of fees. I know every college has its fees, but I was just like, dang. And like I said, we were getting charged literally every week from housing for something that was going on in the dorm if nobody owned up to it and stuff like that. So I just felt like for the poor experience I'm having, we shouldn't be paying this much money. Like, I'd rather pay this much money in state to just, 1, have friends, 2, do athletics, 3, be in an accredited program and just like be a part of all these clubs and just do all this extra stuff. I was like, or shoot, get a car or something. Like, all this extra money could go somewhere. Not feeling included, despite how many times I tried to get involved on campus, being told that I was like too white or just like naturally not fitting in, getting dirty looks all the time, people just being rude, saying I'm a goody two-shoes, saying I'm a teacher's pet. Yeah, I definitely didn't fit in, and I never made like the true like group of friends I wanted. Like I said, I made like a couple of friends like as I was leaving, and that was the sucky part. But I just felt like it was always a competition of who had the best clothes and who had the best hair and who was the prettiest and all this stuff. And I remember being so pissed off because I was like, this school is so prestigious and it has such a good reputation. But I was like, honestly, if you're not an engineer or a communications or business major, I felt like the school doesn't have that much to offer you. You have to make up your own resources and you have to do 10 times the work as these other majors who are kind of given all these resources. Like, you know, obviously there's a whole like engineering building, and they were knocking down a building when I was leaving to build even another building for the engineers. Like, everybody knows it's a notorious engineering school. Their program's amazing, and the people I met there that are engineers, crazy smart. They had an amazing business building that my class was in. It had like the stocks all around. It was such a beautiful architecture and design and communications in general. They always talk about Terrence, I forget his name. His name was Terrence. He's in Think Like a Man. Terrence J. He's an alum of North Carolina A&T, and he gave back like I think $1 million or something. And I forget what they were doing with that money, but I'm like, I felt like those are the top majors you could really succeed if you went to A&T. But you know, despite my program apparently having the second highest amount of people enrolled in it, it just wasn't the greatest. And I didn't want my parents paying for something and I wasn't truly getting the best education or experience out of it. I definitely don't regret my decision. I'm very happy being at Rowan, but I will say at times, you know, I do miss the people that I met there that I truly like, I feel like I connected with. I missed the band. The band was lit. I miss just the pride around being at A&T, like all the different chants, the colors, the mascot, the professors that just were constantly instilling knowledge and excellence and pride in me to be proud of being Black. Professor Hooks and Professor Dr. Whitehead was just amazing. For professors that pushed me but also believed in me, I definitely appreciate that. Honestly, overall, like, I'm grateful for the experience. If I could go back, I probably wouldn't do things differently because I truly feel like I'm at where I'm supposed to be. God makes no mistakes, and I hope that this video could be a testimony and just a little insight for everyone. I originally wasn't going to talk about this because when I did leave A&T, I got so much hate. I got so much hate from the people I thought supported me. I had people tell me that I left A&T because I was too white, that I couldn't handle being around so many Black people. I had people tell me it was because I was homesick. even though some of the first places I was going to transfer to after A&T were still in North Carolina. I had people telling me because I couldn't handle it, even though I had a 4.0. Like, just a bunch of crazy things that in retrospect I really shouldn't have listened to or cared about. But you know, at the end of the day, people are gonna think what they want of you. But if you made it this far, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable and share my story. Hope you enjoyed. Like this video, comment, share, subscribe if you want. Join the Juicebox gang. I love you guys. I'm gonna have to take a nap or pray or something after this video because that was mentally taxing. But I love you guys, and until next time, bruh, just be yourself.